Hello guys. This is your friend ITACHI Fanfic 3.0. And we are back a new fanfic story, which is let's start fanfic without wasting more time. What if Naruto's rage had taken over during the fight with Kachime? A suffocating silence clung to Amaterasu Peak, a treacherous, obsidian mountain range rumored to be the birthplace of the elemental nation's most devastating jutsu. The air itself shimmered, not with heat, but with a palpable pressure, a tension that preceded cataclysm. At the heart of a blasted, dust-choked arena stood Naruto Uzumaki. This was not the boisterous, sun-drenched Hokage of Konoha, nor the youthful, determined Genin. This was the Scarlet Scion, a name whispered in fear and awe across the lands. His form was a conduit of raw, untamed power. He was wreathed in a ferocious, orange-red flame, an inferno that licked up from the ground, consumed the air, and crowned his spiky blonde hair like a volatile halo. This was no mere chakra cloak, it was the sealed will of the Nine Tails, a primal force that had fused with Naruto's own indomitable spirit, manifesting as an armor of living fire. His standard black combat jacket was now etched with 4 searing orange nines, 2 over each pectoral, a bold, burning declaration of the sealed demon within. A perfect, concentric orange ring pulsed over his sternum, the focal point where the Nine Tails chakra was perpetually stabilized and controlled. His eyes, the windows to a soul tempered by 1,000 battles, glowed with the vertical slit pupils of the fox and a chilling, orange-gold intensity. In his right hand, he held a simple, yet impossibly dense black staff, an extension of his will capable of deflecting any attack or channeling a devastating chakra blast. In his left, a custom-forged, 3-pronged kunai, its blades wickedly sharp and its body glowing with concentrated chakra, a deadly fusion of the Flying Thunder God technique and the Rasengan's destructive spiral. He was a perfect blend of destructive force and tactical genius. He was waiting. The enemy was not an army, but one. The arrival of the Shadow Weaver. A chilling, crystalline sound echoed across the peak as a fissure of pure, inky blackness tore open the sky. Stepping out was Kachime, the Shadow Weaver. She was an entity of pure anti-chakra, a master of dimensional manipulation and a being whose only goal was to unravel the delicate balance of the world by extinguishing the elemental sources of power, starting with the Nine Tails. Kachime smiled, a flash of sickly white in the enveloping gloom she carried. The Scar of Konoha. You have come to die in your most powerful form, a spectacular blaze before the endless night. Naruto's voice was a low, resonant growl, the sound of grinding tectonic plates. I am not a scar. I am the seal. And tonight, you are not extinguishing a fire, you are facing an entire sun. The battle began without a word. Kachime raised a hand, and from the ground erupted monstrous, barbed shadow thorns, each thicker than a tree trunk, aimed to impale and drain the light from the Scarlet Scion. Naruto moved. He didn't run. He ignited. With a roar that tore through the mountain air, his body became a blur of orange and black. He spun the black staff, not to block, but to channel his chakra. A blistering wave of scarlet flash chakra exploded outward, vaporizing the shadow thorns into smoke before they could touch him. The raw heat of his attack melted the obsidian ground into cooling magma. Kachime, unfazed, retreated instantly into her shadow dimension, a non-space that defied all sensory perception. The technique of the burning heart. Naruto knew his enemy. Kachime was a master of attrition, waiting for any dip in his chakra. He would give her none. He planted his staff, driving it deep into the molten rock. The orange ring on his chest flared blindingly. He wasn't relying on his senses. He was relying on the Nine Tails' primal awareness and the very nature of his jutsu. The flames around him flared higher, and his skin beneath the cloak became crisscrossed with glowing, magma-hot veins. You can hide in the shadow, but you cannot hide from the sun. He bellowed. He unleashed the tailed beast bomb, but not in a sphere. He channeled the compressed chakra, along with the raw elemental fire of Amaterasu Peak itself, threw the custom kunai in his left hand. With a powerful swing, he didn't throw the kunai, he sliced the reality before him. A gigantic, crescent-shaped crimson gale of tailed beast chakra, superheated and imbued with his own destructive will, tore through the arena. It didn't just target the physical space, it burned the seams of the shadow dimension, forcing Kajheim to manifest instantly to avoid being annihilated. She reappeared, gasping, her shadow cloak flickering. Impossible. You used the seal's control to weaponize the very fabric of space. I learned from the best, Naruto sneered, referencing his teacher's, Jiraiya's, wisdom and his father's, Minato's, genius. My power isn't just destruction, it's omnipresence. The duel of will and shadow. Kajheim retaliated with ferocity. She manifested two massive shadow claws, each the size of a mountain peak, and slammed them down. Naruto leapt, the flames beneath his feet propelling him like a rocket. As the claws struck the ground, he hurled the kunai with the flying thunder god seal activated. The weapon vanished, then reappeared directly between Kajheim's eyes. She reacted with inhuman speed, twisting her head, allowing the kunai to plunge into her shoulder instead of her skull. It was a fatal mistake. The moment the kunai connected, a blinding flash of orange light enveloped them both. The flying thunder god mark was not just a teleportation anchor, it was a conduit of controlled destruction. Naruto teleported directly to the kunai's location, the point of impact. He wasn't finished. Before Kajheim could scream, Naruto plunged the black staff, now pulsing with the same searing heat as the sun, deep into the wound created by the kunai. This was the final gambit. The sage art. Burning heart conduit. The staff became a lightning rod, channeling an overwhelming torrent of the purest, most concentrated nine tails, sage mode chakra directly into her anti-chakra core. The raw power of the Biju was fighting the antimatter of the Shadow Weaver from the inside out. Kajheim shrieked, a sound of agony and fury that shattered the surrounding rocks. You are just a boy. You cannot hold this power. I am not a boy. Naruto roared, his face a mask of straining determination, the veins on his forehead bulging. The orange flames around him intensified to a brilliant, consuming white gold. I am a Jinchuriki. I am a sage. I am a Hokage. And I am the hero of my world. I carry the will of fire and the hope of every person who has ever believed in me. Victory and the reckoning. For a terrifying, agonizing moment, the two powers, light and shadow, fire and void, were locked in a destructive embrace. The entire peak was being torn apart by the energy. Then, the Shadow Weaver's screams cut short. The black shadow mass of Kajheim began to burn, to evaporate, to disintegrate under the relentless pressure of the Scarlet Scion's power. With a final, shattering explosion of white-hot chakra, the Shadow Weaver was gone, reduced to nothingness. Naruto stood alone amidst the ruins. The brilliant white-gold flames slowly subsided, returning to the calmer, powerful orange cloak seen in the image. His breath came in ragged, deep gasps. The black staff and the kunai were lowered, the light receding from their forms. The battle was won, the world was safe, but the cost of wielding such immense power was always exhaustion. He closed his eyes for a moment, listening to the silence, broken only by the crackle of residual flames. This was his burden, his oath. To be the Scarlet Scion, the final line of defense, the one who burned brightest to chase away the darkest shadows. He was the seal. He was the fire. He was Naruto Uzumaki.